Welcome everyone. Well, we've got a big group here, people from all over the world, coming together to become better versions of ourselves. Really grateful for the opportunity to share space with you all. I'm just going to stop sharing my computer sound in a moment here, so I can figure out how to shut it off. Let's see. Welcome everyone. Please turn your camera on if you can. This is going to be an interactive event, so we're going to be talking to each other. We're going to be talking to ourselves in different parts of this event. Who's here for who's working with me for the first time? Who's here? Never worked with me before? Yeah, great. Got a big group of newbies. Yeah, Caddy, I don't know if I would say that you've experienced some of my work at least. Yeah. I saw you raise your hand. You're like, I don't really know if I should raise my hand or not. Yeah. Who's worked with me before? Just raise your hands so the rest of the group can see you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, welcome everyone. So before I get started, I just want to say, I want to leave a little disclaimer. You shouldn't blindly believe anything I'm going to share with you in this presentation. Don't trust me. You don't know me. You have no reason to believe me. You have no reason to trust me. I think it's very important that you question everything. I think it's very important that you question me, question your leaders, question your government, question your education system, your religious system, your medical system, and question yourselves, because I believe that the truth you need is inside of here. You're not going to find it in this presentation. The truth that you're looking for is inside of you. My job is to reflect back the aspects of yourself that hold you back from connecting to your truth. So this is not an experience where I'm going to be coming in and giving you something you don't already have. I'm going to be connecting you to something that already exists inside of you. My name is Ricky Goodall, but that's not really who I am. That's just the identity or character I created to fit into the world. I started creating Ricky Goodall when I was born. Started creating beliefs and fears and limitations and failures and successes, all associated with this character I call Ricky Goodall. But that's not really who I am. Who I really am, I believe, is God, creator, or conscious universe manifested as a higher self, pretending to be Ricky Goodall. When I live life as Ricky Goodall, I people please. Sometimes I seek validation. I look for my power outside of myself. Sometimes I give in to emotionally numbing myself with things like too much TV, too much junk food, too much drugs, alcohol, or social media. When I live life as my higher self, I become limitless. I'm no longer limited by my fears and limitations. I'm no longer limited by the beliefs that hold me back from accessing my true power. When I live as my higher self, I become limitless. And so my intention here on this presentation is to help you understand a little bit better how you can live as your higher self and help you understand what's holding you back from connecting to this fundamental part of yourself. Who's heard this term higher self before? Yeah, everyone, I would say. That's why you're here. I just want to check into who's feeling a little nervous. So I'm a little nervous about being here. Who's not really? Yeah, Katia knows because she's been to some of these events. And some of the rest of you know because you've been here before too. Who's feeling a little vulnerable? Maybe you're not nervous, but maybe you're feeling a little vulnerable. Yeah. Who's feeling excited? Who's excited to be here? I'm feeling all of those things too. I'm nervous. I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling really grateful. Who's feeling grateful right now? Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to connect with all of you from all over the world. Let me know in the chat. By the way, we're going to be using the chat throughout this presentation. So your chat window, if you're on your phone, it should be a little button at the bottom. And if you're on your computer, it should be a little button at the bottom. And if you click it, it's going to open up a chat window on the right side of your screen likely. Just want you to get used to that now. So let me know where in the world are you? Let me know your first name and where in the world are you in the chat. So you can get a sense of where everyone's at. New Jersey, Chelsea said. Nick's in New York. Hey, Nick. I'm glad you traveled safely. Suzanne, and wow, this is coming quickly. We got some Costa Rica. We got some California. We got some Mexico, Nova Scotia, Lake Zurich, Woodstock. They're coming in so fast. Hard to keep up. Karina's in Tulum, Virginia Beach, Ohio. Nice. Yeah, we got people from all over the world here. Janice is from Nova Scotia. Chip. Then Alice in Mexico. Yeah. Anna's in Germany. Now, there was a time in my past where I had this dream to have a mission that serves people from all over the world. And here we are. So dreams do come true. Valerie's in Nova Scotia. How many of my people in the pilgrimage? So this event is for the pilgrimage. Most of you don't know what the pilgrimage is, but some of you are in the event. So just raise your hands to show the others if you're in the pilgrimage. We're not all here right now, but there's a good number of us. I've got 3 screens to check, so I can't see you all. So the pilgrimage is a self-ascension system for conscious coaches and healers who want to break free from their false identity or their ego and become their higher self. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the pilgrimage later, and don't worry, there's no sales pitches in this event. You can't join the pilgrimage right now, even if you want to, because it's completely closed down to new people, but I'll tell you more about that later. I created the pilgrimage because I was lonely. I wanted to have other people to share these crazy ideas with and to be on this crazy path with, because when you start telling people that you don't believe that you're a human being, not everyone gets it at first. Who's been there? Who's had crazy beliefs or crazy ideas and they don't really feel like people around them get it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've all felt it. That's why you're all here, because I don't know about you, but I was the weird kid growing up. I was the weird kid that was different than everyone else and didn't really fit in and kind of stuck out and couldn't understand why didn't people like me? Why didn't I fit in with those around me? And now I've learned that it's because I wasn't meant to fit in. I was meant to stand out. I was meant to be different, meant to be a leader. And each of you, I believe, is leaders. That's why you're here. You know, we're not meant to fit in. We're meant to stand out. We're meant to show people that sovereignty and freedom doesn't look like conformity. Sovereignty and freedom looks like being unique. It looks like being different. It looks like not going with the status quo. It looks like kind of being weird. It looks like kind of being strange, kind of not really being like everyone else. And that's okay. Not only is it okay, but I think it's necessary for the evolution of humanity. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to do today, and then we're going to jump right in because we got lots to do, lots to experience. And this is going to be an interactive event. So like I said, I think everyone's got their cameras on. Not everyone, some of you don't. So if you don't have your camera on, in about 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to I'll be removing you from the group because it requires you to have your camera on. So I'll give you the next 10 or 15 minutes to get your camera on. But once we get through the breath work, I'll have to remove you because it's for consent. Really, we need to make sure everyone can see each other face to face. We're going to be doing some partner exercises and some experiences where you're going to be connecting with other people and they have their camera on. So I want to make sure you have your camera on too. So you're still good for a few more minutes if you're finishing something up or wrapping something up. So that's cool. So what we're going to be doing is first, we're going to be setting some intentions. I believe in magic. I believe in shamanism. I believe in the ability to use our intentions to create massive transformation in our lives and in the world. And intention is very important. And when we live with intention, when we direct our energy in a specific direction, then I believe that energy becomes more powerful. So we're going to be setting some intentions. So first we're going to do that as a group, and then we're going to do it individually. I'm going to partner you with somebody, and you're going to set your intentions with a person you never met before. So we're going to get uncomfortable right away. I think it's important. It gets our nervous system all fired up, just in case some of you are feeling a little bit tired. I know we're in different parts of the world, so it might be close to nighttime for some of you. So I want to make sure you're nice and wide awake for this experience. After we set some intentions, we're going to jump into some breath work. And when we do breath work, we're going to be listening to some binaural beats. So 12 hertz binaural beats. These are special tracks that will help you connect with a deeper sense of flow, deeper state of flow. Let me know, show of hands, if you've heard of the term flow before. Chances are a lot of you have heard of that. Yeah. So flow is a scientific concept. It's a brainwave state where we're actually able to connect to a deeper level of creativity, a deeper level of just accessing our higher faculties. We become very present. We become rooted in the present moment. And so you're going to be connecting to your flow. And the breath work we're going to be doing, this isn't just deep breathing. Who's done the kind of breath work that makes your hands go like this and you just blast off to another dimension? Or maybe, let me know, show of hands if you've experienced that kind of deep breath work before. Yeah, we're going to be doing just a mini version of that. We're not going to be doing like the full laying down, going into another world version of that, but we're going to be doing a sitting up version. So it's going to require you to make sure that you're in a safe place. My partner, Julia, last week, she was doing some breath work and she actually passed out and fell and hit her head on a concrete floor and had a big egg on her head and a little bit of a black eye. So it's important to make sure you're in a safe place and that you're not going to fall over when you do the breath work. Then we're going to, at the end of the breath work, when I get you into a really high state, I'm going to take you through a guided visualization to connect with your authentic life, to connect with the life that reflects your authentic self. And then after that, we're going to share our experience a little bit with a partner. And then we're going to get into talking about how we can, yeah, Jenna, thanks for asking. You can lay down if you like. Then after the sharing our experience, we're going to get into a little presentation about what your higher self is and how you can become your higher self. Then we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to jump into some coaching. So some of you have already completed an application to be coached by me today. I'm going to be coaching as many people as I can today. So the coaching part is important because when I'm coaching one person, some of you, who's been coached by me before in the group? I know quite a number of you have. Yeah. Yeah. So those that have been coached by me know that when you're getting coached, other people are getting coached too, because they're getting coached just by watching the experience. So that's a really important part of it. And then we're going to go into a Q&A section where I'm going to be actually answering your questions, and we're going to have a little chat about the higher self. So right now, I just want to say, if you have any tabs open, if you're doing anything else other than this right now, I'm going to just invite you to shut everything down. I know there's some real overworkers in the room, some multitaskers. I get that too. Sometimes I catch myself, I'm on my phone, or I've got other tabs open. So I'm just going to invite you to be fully present with this experience. So shut your phone off if you can, put it on airplane mode, close any other tabs you have in your window. Let's get fully present. If you dedicate this time to yourself, it's not to me. I don't care if you dedicate your time to me, but if you dedicate this time to yourself over the next few hours, it's gonna create massive transformations in your life. I can promise you that, one way or another. And don't worry, we're gonna take a break halfway through so you can get your fix if you need to check your phone, or you need to grab a drink of water or go to the bathroom or anything like that. So I'll give a second just to give everyone a chance. I have a drink of my green juice here. Okay, so now we're going to do some intention setting. So first thing I'll invite you to do is just close your eyes, get comfortable, let go of whatever you're bringing into the conversation. And just take some really deep breaths. Get comfortable, take some deep breaths. Just connect with your heart. Connect with that space in the middle of your chest. Just get present to your own energy. Just, first of all, acknowledge yourself for putting in the effort, being present, and being here today. Just acknowledge yourself for that. Have some compassion, have some gratitude. Maybe place your hand on your heart, or a dog on you, like Kaylee right now. I see a dog climbing all over. Just whatever makes you feel grateful. Just get present to your own presence and your own space and your own effort. Not just today, but all of the effort that you put into getting to where you are in your life right now. Let's just acknowledge that effort. Let's acknowledge all of the work, all of the challenges, all of the struggles. Just get present to what you've already done in your life to get to this moment. Now, focusing on your heart, just keeping your eyes closed, deeply breathing. In a moment, I'm going to ask you a question. I'd like you to just sit with the answer until the answer becomes crystal clear. Once the answer becomes crystal clear, I'll invite you to open your eyes and just post the answer in the chat window. So again, just keeping your eyes closed, taking some deep breaths. You're going to sit with the answer until it becomes crystal clear. Let's imagine that we can create anything in your life as a result of this experience today. If we could create absolutely anything for you, what would you ask for us to create? Thanks, Chelsea. I heard positivity, joy, and peace. Complete and total lack of judgment. peace, love, and happiness, peace, balance, and harmony, free the world, connection to my inner voice, clarity, help others wake up to all they are, pure bliss and abundance, mental and physical health, a job that I will love, that will bring me abundance and financial freedom, a heart that's open and giving to giving and receiving love. Yeah, I'm loving these intentions, everyone. Acceptance, clarity, and financial freedom. Freedom from my addiction to tobacco. I'm holding that with you. Remember, bliss and believe in magic again. Freedom of judgment in both directions. Pure happiness and health. Acceptance. Conscious and constant connection to my higher self. Yeah. And awakening consciousness to the truth, wisdom, seeking the knowledge. Really appreciating these intentions, the school of consciousness, feeling that we are all one all of the time. Balance in all aspects of my journey. Giving and receiving unconditional love. Stability, alignment with my higher self, and unconditional love. Yeah, I'm starting to hear a theme here. I wonder if anyone else catches that theme. Letting go of any 3D pieces of me holding me back from pure alignment with my higher self. Financial freedom to be able to do, buy, and pay anything that I want, and just freedom of peace on all levels. The ability to stay detached from the 3D world in connection to something higher, 5D. Unconditional self-acceptance. These are great intentions, everyone. Thank you for sharing, understanding everything. Okay, so what we're going to do now, thanks, Valerie, true compassion for self and others, community of love and abundance that is safe for all, dreams with Cal Everett, how they're coming in quick. I think I need to refresh my window. Okay. Yeah, sure, Carlene. If you go quickly, we're gonna jump into a exercise in a moment. So I'll give you a chance to go out and come back in. Alexandra, ideas, thoughts, matching actions, willpower, and discipline, follow my dreams, find my purpose. So for those of you who don't have your cameras on, now is the time to turn your camera on. We're going to be doing our partner exercises now. And I want to make sure everyone has their camera on so that everyone feels comfortable with the partner exercise. So I'm just going to give it a second. And if you don't have your camera on, I'm going to remove it in about a minute or two. Just giving you a chance. So there seems to only be one person without their camera on. Okay. Looks like we have almost everyone. Let's see here. Alexandra, is your camera? Can you put your camera back on? There we go. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump into breakout rooms. Who's done breakout rooms before? Show of hands if you've done breakout rooms. Yeah, okay. So if you haven't, it's really simple. You're going to go in a room with somebody you never met before. And for 2 minutes, you're going to share your intentions, not just for this experience, but for what you want to create in your life in general. You're just going to talk for 2 minutes, stream of consciousness. And if you run out of things to say, you're going to keep talking until I send a message and say switch. And then once I send a message and say switch, the other person is going to talk and go and go and go for 2 minutes until they're done. So I'm going to give you about 5 seconds to decide who goes. And then we're going to send a message out that says start. When I send a message out that says start, then it's time to start. So I'm going to create breakout rooms. Make sure everything's working okay. Good. Second here. Somebody's gonna get to go with me. Which means that I have to share my intentions, which feels edgy for me. And this feels edgy every time when I do this stuff. Okay, just 1 second. I'm just creating the rooms here. Let's see. This is the awkward part where I just stare at the screen and nothing happens. Okay, we are ready. Okay, so I will send you all a message and let you know when it's time to start. And then I'll send you a message and let you know when it's time to switch. My Authentic Relating Games crew is familiar with this. Now I just don't have the rattles right now. It's the only difference. Okay, here we go. Hey, Kristen, I don't see your camera, but it looks like your microphone's on. Are you there, Kristen? I can't see you. There you are. Hey, I think you're on mute. I can't see you, or I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I think you're still on mute. Can you hear me? Okay. How about now? Can you hear me now? No? I think you're on mute. Let me just send you a message and see if you can hear me. No? Can you hear me? Hey, Kristen, can you hear me? Can't hear? I can't hear you either. Can you hear me, Kristen? No, huh? Check and see here. I'm gonna send everyone else a message. Yeah, 1 sec. Let's see if we can figure it out. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Let's go. Yeah, go out. Can you hear me? No? No? Okay, hold on. It's not working. Can you hear anything? You can't hear anything? Okay. Interesting. 1 second. Test. Can't hear you, no. How about now? Nothing? Ah, see if that works. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Still can't hear me, huh? Can you hear me, Kristen? There you go. I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Now, can you hear me?
I got you. Yeah, you're good. We got it. Okay.
Oh,
You
yeah,
ready?
I switched. Yeah, I'm so sorry. It
That's
doesn't
okay.
work. It was
No,
just the ring. It doesn't work.
It's perfect
At
timing.
all.
It was meant to happen. So how about you share your intentions now? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, so let me just. Sorry, I was so confused with the thing.
Okay.
What exactly? What exactly was the question? What kind of intentions do you mean? I'm not.
Just any intentions at all. If you could get anything out of this event today, what would you ask for?
Okay, I would love to understand how the whole world, or understand the whole world. I have so many information. I'm into this space for quite a long time, and I love to understand how everything is connected. What is the higher self? How can I connect with that and with the whole world, more or less, with all, not only with all the people, and with my soul, to really find it. I mean, I'm quite coherent. But I would love to go more and more into that. And it would be great if I can have that after this session, or really understand my way, my purpose, and yes, what are we here for? That was one. Okay, it's still
Yeah,
a
you
few
got
minutes.
50,
Okay.
50 seconds.
Okay. Yes, and really share the love and feel my heart, and really, and the love and the truth, to really get into the truth, and to see how I can, yes, how I can go deeper into that, and explore and understand more and more from the heart, and really on of the basis of love. So for me, everything is love, and yes, that's for me most important, I would say.
Yeah, you got
Okay.
18 seconds.
Okay, woo, I can say more. Yes, I didn't have any expectations, actually, because most of the time I do not have expectations. I'm always open to everything, so I'm just free to see. So there was no intention before. I haven't thought about it before. It's just to, yeah, let's see what happens. I'm always open, and I let it flow. I always go with the flow. So let's see what comes. So
Perfect.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, thank you. That's time. Thanks, Kristen. We made it happen.
Yes.
I'll see you back in the main room.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We had a little technology issue in my room. Anyone else have any technology challenges come up during that? Yeah, Alexis. Anyone else? Yeah, a couple technology things. Yeah, it happens. At least now we know. So Haley said it gave me a 60-second warning and then kicked me out right after. That's strange. Yeah, not sure why that happened. Okay. I mean, when the 60-second warning doesn't, it kind of tells us when we're going back, but here we are. So we'll try again a little while with a different exercise. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to jump into the breath work. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the breath work, and then we're going to jump in. And this is a combination of techniques that we're going to do here. This breath work is a very powerful type of breath work that can lead to real powerful transformation. So again, just make sure that you're fully present to this experience. Just shut off any extra tabs you have. Shut down your phone if you're using it. Just be fully present. If you can't be fully present, it might be better just not to stick around, because this isn't going to be a very powerful experience if you're not able to be fully present. So if you can get yourself fully present, it would be best. And this breath work is a really powerful type of breath work that if you practice this regularly, it can lead to serious changes in our neurology and our biology. And and our neurobiology. Just it can change our mind, body, and spirit in really incredible ways. So we're going to be doing 3 techniques, and it's going to be about 10 to 15 minutes of breath work. So 3, 2, 1. Belly, chest, release. Big breaths. Belly, chest, release. Belly, chest, release. 2 more. Belly, chest, release. 1 more. Belly, chest, release. Now breathing in, belly, chest, and hold for as long as you can. Fight through the resistance. You have everything you need inside of you. Just hold this breath for as long as you can. Keep holding, keep holding, keep holding. Keep holding your breath. Keep holding your breath. Keep holding. Keep holding. Keep holding. Almost there. Keep holding. Nice work, everyone. Keep holding. Almost there. Almost there. Expand yourself. Keep holding. Almost there. Expand, expand, expand. Expand and release. Let it all out. And just sit at the bottom for a moment as we let the body rest before we start the next round. And we're going to count you down from 3, 2, 1. Back into the nose, exhale. 3, 2, 1. 5 belly, chest release. 1, belly, chest, release. 2, belly, chest, release. 3, belly, chest, release. 4, belly, chest, release. 5, belly, chest, release all of the air, and then start breathing from your nose. Squeeze your perineum, squeeze your stomach, squeeze your chest, squeeze your neck. Bring the energy all the way up. Breathe in as much as you can from your nose and squeeze your entire body from your root all the way down to the top of your head. Squeeze the energy, pull the energy up through your cerebral spinal fluid. Imagine the energy moving from your root all the way through your spine, all the way up to your head, and just create the pressure. Just imagine it blowing through the top of your crown chakra, and just hold for as long as you can. Hold that energy for as long as you can. Hold it for as long as you can. Hold it for as long as you can. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze from your root all the way up. Squeeze as long as you can. Squeeze it. Squeeze it. Be present with whatever's coming up for you. Be present with whatever you're experiencing. Be present to any emotions that want to show themselves, anything that wants to present itself. Just squeeze and hold for as long as you can. 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 Then release all of the air. Release it all. Release it all, and then breathe in belly, chest, and then hold that breath for as long as you can. So belly, chest, and hold for as long as you can. Hold it for as long as you can. Hold it. Hold it for as long as you can. Be present to whatever's coming up for you. Present to whatever you're experiencing. And just release the breath, keeping your eyes closed. Just sit with this experience. I'm going to play some binaural beats in the background as I take you through a little guided visualization while we're in this state of flow. What you're experiencing. Be aware of your body. Be aware of your breath. I'd like you to just imagine that there is a ladder in front of you right now. Maybe you've done this exercise before. It changes every time. So imagine that there's a ladder in front of you right now. Imagine that you're in the middle of a field and there's a ladder, and this ladder extends all the way through the clouds so high into the sky that you can't even see where it ends. You're going to get on this ladder and you're going to start climbing. Start climbing the ladder. And as you start climbing the ladder, it just gets easier and easier and easier as you climb. It gets so easy, it almost feels like you're floating up the ladder. You look down and you see the people below you. They look like little ants, little ant houses, little ant people. You're just climbing up the ladder, almost floating up through the clouds now. You look down, you can't even see the ground. Just climbing higher and higher and higher. And suddenly you come to a platform in the middle of the clouds. You step off the platform. You just feel so light and joyful. In this moment, you're just fully present to your experience. And as you're standing on the platform, you see a figure start to walk towards you through the clouds. And as this figure gets closer to you, you start to recognize the silhouette of this figure. If you've done this exercise before, then you know what comes next. As this figure gets closer to you, you recognize that this is another version of yourself. This is a higher version of yourself. This version of you is walking with a little more confidence, a little more peacefulness, a little more blissfulness. This version of you knows something that you don't know. It knows the path you've taken to get to exactly where you want to be. This version of you has achieved the dreams, achieved the goals. This version of you is living the legacy you always imagined that you'd live. As this version gets closer to you, you meet eye to eye, and you see this twinkle in this version of you, in their eyes. They have a little smile. What you're going to do for the next moment is you're just going to ask this version of yourself what your purpose is in this life. What are you here for? Why are you here, and what are you meant to experience? So for the next moment, have that conversation with your higher self. Ask, what am I here for? What is my purpose on this planet at this time? Now I'd like you to ask your higher self, what are the limiting beliefs or fears that you've had to overcome to get to this place in your life, this place where you're fully living your purpose? What are the limiting beliefs or fears that you have to overcome, and how do you overcome them? You're going to ask your higher self this now. What are the limiting beliefs or fears that you have to overcome, and how are you going to overcome them? Ask your higher self these questions now. Now you're going to ask yourself, what else does this version of you want you to know so that you can take action toward the life that you've always desired, toward the purpose, toward the legacy, toward the dreams that are alive inside of your heart? What else does your higher self want you to know? What else do you need to know to live this purpose? Now your higher self is going to pull a small crystal out of their pocket. And in this crystal has all of the answers you need to get to exactly where you want to get to in your life. This crystal has all of the insights, all the guidance, all of the information you need to create the life that you really desire, the life that's burning inside of you. Your higher self is going to put this crystal somewhere in your body right now. Be aware of where your higher self is putting this crystal inside of your body right now. And just place your hand on that space where your higher self is putting the crystal. Where your hand is where you find the answers when you need them. And this shouldn't surprise you, should it? You already knew the answers were here. And now you have a direct link to this place. This is where you find your truth. This is where you find your guidance. This is where you find the answers when you need them. So connect with this place. The insights, the guidance, the information will be there for you. Now you're going to give your higher self a big hug and just thank them. Give yourself a hug, maybe. Big hug, and just thank them for always being there for you, for guiding you, for protecting you, for watching over you, for always being here, even when nobody else is here for you. They know everything you've been through. They know everything you've survived, everything you've suffered from, all of your challenges, all of your successes and failures. Your higher self has been there for you from the beginning. This version of you has always been there, always watching over you, making sure that you're never alone. So just give them some gratitude and some love. You're just going to let them go. They're going to start to drift off into the clouds. You're going to turn around. You're going to start moving back down the ladder, back down to the ground, through the clouds, floating back down to the ground. You can see the little houses and the little people now. Again, you're floating down just as easily as you floated up. Now your feet are touching the ground. Let's take a big deep breath. Move your fingers and toes maybe. Move your body a little bit. Just be present to what you just experienced, what you've just been through. You can keep your eyes closed as long as you need to. If your eyes are open and you feel like you're back, I'm curious if you could summarize that whole experience, the breath work, the visualization, if you could summarize it all in one word, what one word would you summarize it as? Just put that in the chat window. Just one word. Just the one word, or maybe two words that come to mind. Cinda said love. What comes to mind? Peace, Chelsea said. Trust. Powerful, Chrissy, thank you. Knowledge. Compassion. Remember, this medicine exists inside of us. We have this medicine inside of us anytime we need it. Affirmation, peace, home, self-worth, calm, unexpected, strength, peace, release, opening, connection. Yeah, love. We are the medicine that we seek. The medicine that we need is inside of us. Jen says understanding. Nauseous and love. Yeah. So what we've done here is gotten our brainwaves into a different state. Now we're in the alpha brainwave states. We're in a state of presence and flow and being aware. Depending on how intense that experience was, it can be different for everyone. Kogi said powerful, blissful, love, safe. Amber said connected. Yeah. Jackie said feeling lightheaded. Yeah, that makes sense. That can happen. Clear, Suzanne said. Worthy, Marilyn said, thank you. Relaxed, yeah. Seeing some smiles, seeing some frowns, seeing some what the F just happened. Kind of all over the place, huh? Pedro said reconnection. Yeah. And it's different every time. Katia said floating. I do this breath work almost every morning, one version or another every morning. And it's different every time. It's different, powerful experience every time. Pedro said higher realms. Yeah. So some of you have asked some questions. I sent out some emails, and I just want to thank Yael. Am I saying that right? Yeah, I found you. Where are you at? Can you unmute yourself and just tell me how to pronounce your name? Hold on, yeah. Yeah. Can you unmute yourself and tell me Yael? Where are you at? There you are. Hey, how do I pronounce your name?
Jael.
Jael. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I was way off. Cool. Thank you, Jael. Appreciate it. You can meet yourself again. So Jael, Jennifer, Christine, April, Lisa, Jackie, who else? Katya, Jen, Martin, you all sent in the answers to your questions because I have something, my coaches helped me understand that I have something called a curse of knowledge. So sometimes I don't ask myself the questions that I once asked myself, which are questions that some of you ask yourselves. And some of those questions are, what will it actually feel like to live as my higher self? Who's wondered that question before? Like, what does that even mean? Like, what will it actually feel like? We've all heard the term, but what will it feel like to live as my higher self? How will I know that I got there? And how do I get there? And how do I maintain it when I do get there? So I want to answer some of those questions. And I also want to share a little presentation so I can share my understanding of these concepts. And again, you shouldn't believe anything I say. This is just my understanding. This is just the way I see these concepts. It's more important that you listen to your intuition and allow what I'm going to share with you to inspire you, not to answer the questions for you, but just to inspire you, because I believe that inspiration is how we really create change in our lives. It's something inspiration. It's not outspiration. It's not Ricky inspiration. It's inspiration. So it's going to happen inside of you. And I think it's really important that we all recognize that the answers are inside of us. So I'm going to share my screen here and share a little presentation. Tell you what it means to me to become your higher self. So a warning, we're going to go deep right now. Some of you have been working with me for a while, so this isn't going to be very deep for you because we've already gone to these places. But for the rest of you, this is important to take this slow, because what I'm going to share with you is going to be maybe a little intense, maybe a little sobering, maybe a little triggering too. So just putting a fair warning out there that this is going to require some community. The reason that I've created this community, the pilgrimage, is because when I started my journey, I was all alone when I learned these concepts, and it was very hard on my consciousness. It was very hard on my soul, very hard on my emotions. So I thought, geez, I don't want other people to have to go through that. I want to create a community where when people understand these deep, fundamental spiritual truths, that they have a community to share them with. Because if we don't have anyone, it can feel very lonely sometimes. So I'd like you to imagine that you're dreaming right now. Imagine that everything you're experiencing right now is a lucid dream. You're awake in the dream, but you're dreaming. So let's imagine that everything you're experiencing, the room you're in, the device you're watching this presentation on, the experiences you're having, just look around your room right now. Look at the walls, look at the pictures, look at the furniture. Just imagine that this is all a dream. It's all a really real dream. Imagine that you're dreaming this. Imagine that this whole experience is happening inside of your consciousness. Imagine that everything you experience is your own personal dream world. You're in your dream world. I'm in my dream world. Imagine that this whole experience is your dream world. Imagine that all of the situations, the relationships that you find yourself in, all part of your dream world. And that everyone in your reality is a character in your dream, including me. I am a character in your dream world. I am here in this moment, reminding you that you're dreaming. Everyone is a reflection of you. Everyone is a reflection of your experience. Now imagine if you suddenly woke up. Imagine if you just suddenly woke up from the dream. You would realize that I wasn't actually in your dream, but that I was just a character in your dream and a reflection of your consciousness. You would realize that in this moment, you are both the dreamer experiencing the dream and the source of the dream itself. You are the character and you are the dream world. You'd also realize that your false identity or your character or your ego isn't the real you. This is just the character you're playing in the dream. But that the real you is a higher self, somewhere beyond the dream world. You would know that when it ultimately comes down to it, you are just pretending to be human for the experience of the dream itself. You are the higher self in a dream pretending to be human. So the question becomes, well, what if you are the higher self? What if this is your dream world? That would mean that everything in your reality is a reflection of you. All of those people that trigger you, all of those people that get on your nerves, all of those challenging situations, all of the drama in the entire world is a reflection of you. Great power requires great responsibility. That would mean that everything in your reality is a reflection of you, and that you are the center of your own personal universe. It would also mean that you are everything in your experience of reality. You are everything you can touch, taste, smell, hear, and see. This is the spiritual truth that all of us have been seeking. It's a spiritual truth that anyone on an esoteric path has been looking for. In the ancient esoteric, magical, shamanic systems, they call it the terrible secret. The secret that I am everything. And that to change my world, I must change my inner world. To change my universe, I must change my inner universe. To change the pain in the world, I must change the pain in myself. So here are some of those questions that some of you have asked in your emails. First of all, how do I raise my consciousness to the level of my higher self? How do I expand beyond my human ego? How do I expand beyond the false character? Well, the simple answer to that is we must purge the pain and the programming that keeps us stuck in a lower state of consciousness. We must face the unconscious pain, the unprocessed pain and trauma, the limiting beliefs, the fears that keep us stuck in a lower state of consciousness. We must face the darkness. It's the only way through the darkness. We must shine light on that which we want to keep hidden in the dark. We have to shine light on the parts of ourselves we don't want to face. If you're struggling with addictions, if you're struggling with self-sabotaging behavior, if you're struggling with being stuck where you are in your life, this is the only way out. We must face the pain and the programming that keeps us stuck in those lower consciousness states and cycles. What will it feel like to live as my higher self? Well, it will feel like being at home everywhere you go. For some people, being at home might bring up some pain or trauma, thinking about what home was like growing up. When we live as the higher self, we realize that the home we experienced growing up was the necessary path to our purpose. It led us to this very moment. It strengthened us. It created our gifts and our talents. It created our successes and our failures, which we learn from. And therefore, in this moment, we're already home. When we live life as our higher self, we live as if we're home everywhere we go. We fit in even when we don't fit in. We feel accepted even when others don't accept us, because we recognize that they are reflections of our consciousness. They are reflections of our personality. How will I know when I've become my higher self? Because life will become simple as breathing. Life will no longer be a struggle. Life will no longer be suffering. There will be challenges. There will still be puzzles to solve, but it will become as simple as breathing. Now, I didn't say as easy as breathing. I said as simple as breathing. Life will become one breath at a time, one conscious choice, one conscious decision at a time. How do I maintain awareness that I am the higher self? How do I remember that I am the higher self when I slip and fall back into a lower state? And the answer is by taming the ego, by making the ego work for us instead of against us. By taming the ego like we would tame a wild animal. If you had a wild horse in your living room, you really have three options. You can let the wild horse run free, poop and pee everywhere and crush everything and make a big mess. You can kill the horse, but then you have no horse anymore. Or you can tame the horse. And when you tame the horse, you have a friend, you have an ally, you have a worker, you have something that can work for you. Our ego works the same way. We can let the ego run wild and create havoc for ourselves. We can try to kill the ego and ultimately become personalityless without any ability to actually connect with others, or we can tame the ego and have it work for us. This is the secret of the middle path. It's taming the ego, taming the wild animal and having it do our work for us. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to jump into some coaching. We're going to jump into some deep work around applying these principles, because knowledge is one thing, but we have to apply it for it to really stick. So let's take a 5-minute break. I know some of us probably have to pee. I know that I do. So let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back at, it's my time, 3:23 or 4:23 if you're in Eastern, or 5:23 if you're in Nova Scotia, or something else wherever you are in the world. So I'll see you in 5 minutes. Let's give everyone a chance to get back. Okay, so if you're back, just turn your camera on. We're going to jump into the coaching aspect. And I'd just like to set some context around the work that I do when I call it coaching. Who's been coached before? Who's been coached in some maybe life coaching or business coaching? Or show of hands, yeah. Yeah, so the work I do is a little different than what a lot of people call coaching. I don't give any advice and I don't make suggestions. What I do is I ask questions and I reflect back behavior patterns that I see. And sometimes I share stories. I was trained to believe that the answers that you need are inside of you. So it's not my job to tell you what I think you need. It's only my job to ask you questions so that you can discover the answers inside of you. And sometimes my job is to guide you through a process of releasing energy or releasing pain or forgiving or having compassion for yourself or others. Sometimes my job is to help you understand yourself at a deeper level. Sometimes it's to reflect back your blind spots, things that you're not able to see because you're so emotionally invested into your problems. What I'm doing is I'm sitting back and I'm kind of connecting to my higher self and I'm drawing the questions from that place. I'm also connecting with your higher self because I believe our higher selves are actually the same source. And so I'm connecting to our higher selves and I'm asking questions and I'm guiding you through a process of having a conversation with yourself. So there are a few people who have applied to be coached today, and I'm going to start with them and we're going to see where we go. We've got about 45 minutes of time for coaching, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how things work out. Those of you who applied know that you applied, so you might be feeling a little nervous right now, wondering if you're going to be the first person, if you're going to be the second person or the third person, right? Give me a thumbs up if you're feeling nervous. Yeah, I love the nervousness. Yeah. Nice to feel nervous. It's important, I think, to feel nervous because, sometimes things that once made us nervous don't make us nervous anymore. We lose that fun and that joy that we get from doing edgy things. So if you're somebody that applied to be coached today, just prepare yourself because chances are I hope to get to you. I have an order of people that applied and I'm going to respond based on the order. And for the rest of you, remember that if you believe or agree or resonate with anything I've said so far in this presentation, then you might agree that the person getting coached is also you because they're a reflection of you. They're a reflection of your consciousness. So you might hear the things they're going through as a reflection of something you're going through in your life. You might hear what they're going through as a contradiction to something you're going through in your life. Maybe you're going through something completely opposite. Or maybe you're going through something very, very similar. So keep in mind that when I ask them a question, maybe the question is also for you because you set an intention for what you want to get out of this experience. And you might get that intention by watching somebody else go through a process. And you may get that intention here during this experience, or you might get it later. It might come later after the presentation, it might come tomorrow, it might come next week, next year. And take notes because again, inspiration and insights are going to happen. We're in a sacred space right now. Whether you believe that term or believe that it means anything or that there's any importance to it, doesn't really matter. If you believe it, it's going to be more real for you. If you don't believe it, it's going to be less real for you. What's more important is just be present to what's happening, because we're all human beings. We all have fundamentally the same challenges, even though they look different. We all face the same things. We have the same needs. We have the same feelings of rejection or feelings of failure or feelings of abandonment and betrayal. We all face the same pain when it really comes down to it. And we all have very similar dreams. We want to feel like we're living our purpose. We want to feel fulfilled. We want to feel happy and joyful. We want to have deep and meaningful relationships. We want to feel content in life. When I imagine living as the higher self, what that experience is for me is being content for no good reason. Being happy for no reason. Not happy when or happy if, but happy for no reason. Content for no reason. Just because we're living in the flow of life. That's what it means to me to live as our higher selves. It means that we're living a purposeful, fulfilling, inspiring life. And that we've done the work to clear the subconscious limitations to living that life. So I think the people being coached are nervous enough now. So I'm going to start coming around. The one that I thought really, really, really wanted to be coached most and asked first was Jana. So I'm just going to unmute Jana so that we can jump in. Jana, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Okay. I said, oh crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was I that eager? Okay.
It's okay. So who's feeling inspired by Jana's willingness to jump in and face her discomfort and be vulnerable? Yeah. Yeah, you're well supported, Jana.
Thank you.
Can you feel that support?
I can. My ego wants to tell everybody I wanted to take this call in my office and be all professional, but I chose my bed instead because I need to be comfortable.
I respect that. Yeah. Be you, be authentic.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just get present, Jenna. Let's just relax. I know you completed your application and we had some emails back and forth and you had a homework assignment. So for this moment, let's just let all of that go. Let's just pretend you don't have an intention right now. You don't have a reason why you're here. You don't have any preconceived ideas or stories that you want to work on. Let's just let all that go and just get connected with your breath. Yeah, just a nice big breath. Now breathe in nice and deep and just let out with an audible sigh. Just Cool. Yeah, good. Let's hear another one of those. Just big deep breath in and just let it all out. Just one more of those, Jana. One more big deep breath. Just let it all out. Good. Keeping your eyes closed, connected with your heart. I'm going to ask you a question. I'd like you to just sit with the answer until it becomes crystal clear. Don't look for the answer. You might think you already know the answer, but I encourage you, don't look for it. Just allow the answer. Allow the answer to come to you. There's no effort needed here. Jenna, what would make this an extraordinary conversation for you today?
If I could finally let go of the few things that I feel like are holding me back from all that I am, from my higher self. The reason I can answer that so quickly is since we emailed several days ago, this has already been coming up for me quite a bit in my meditations. So clearing a lot.
Yeah. Jenna, what are the things holding you back?
Old patterns, particularly related to my mother. And just not feeling like I fit in and just slipping back into the old versions of me in certain situations just to feel normal. And I know even when I'm there, I can't enjoy it because it takes away from me. It's like trying to have that old gossipy conversation. I'm just not interested. But I also don't fully want to let it go because I don't know who I am without my world. So hard to exist in both.
Janet, you can open your eyes. I heard that there's really a couple of themes here. One is old patterns with your mother and not feeling like you fit in and slipping into old versions of yourself and just gossipy conversations.
Addiction, you know, I mean, I have a birthday party to go to on Saturday, and I gave up alcohol a long time ago. And it's actually, I have very much gratitude for it because it brought me to my knees many years ago. But now it's so hard to go to these places and have these meaningless conversations. So you feel like you have to. And, you know, they all say like, oh, you'll find your people. You won't always feel like you have to go and be with the people that you don't. It's not that I don't resonate. Maybe other people can understand. It's not that I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs, bored out of my mind. I've gotten rid of those people. No judgment. They're gone. I mean, these people I do love, but I'm just, I just feel lost sometimes when I'm trying to interact in that world.
Yeah.
Just not who I am anymore.
Let's just slow down and check in with your intuition and ask the question, how do these patterns of slipping into old versions of yourself relate to your relationship with your mother?
She is I can't say the only thing that still triggers me, but there's so much that used to trigger me that doesn't bother me anymore. You know, from the guy that cuts me off to somebody being rude to my mother-in-law. I mean, none of these people trigger me. So I know what it feels like to not have the charge, the emotional charge around it. But with her, I feel like I was sharing with you in an email, I have done energy healing. I have done talk therapy. I have done my own version of healing, meditation, letting go meditations, Ho'oponopono. I mean, the list goes, I mean, whatever. You guys know all the modalities. And she still can bring me back into that. She still can sink her, I know this is her claws, that's what I want to say, into me and just pull me back in. But I have to say, just talking to you about it, you know, after you shared that email where I was asking some of these questions, it's so much lighter. I called her today and it was so much lighter. There wasn't a jab, there wasn't any bait, there wasn't any, you know, she's just manipulative. And but none of that was there. Like we actually had, for the first time, I don't know when, like just a peaceful conversation. But she's been real. She lived with us during COVID and actually had to move out in January because it got so bad, like with my kids and attacking my husband and just very angry. And so I don't know if it's the combination of just, you know, another layer that was shed with your insight, or her not being here in my house and trying to say things to my children. And I saw my inner child in my children hearing these things. And I just, stop it. Stop. You're not going to do this to them. You're not going And so I don't even know if I'm answering the question, but it does feel lighter than it did. I don't feel as much anger. It's starting to shift. I feel that from resentment to compassion. But it's been a tough, long road. I mean, pretty much my entire teenage through adult life has been tough with her. And I think the other thing that really, having her live with me and seeing the things that she's done, I didn't realize. When you grow up with it, you don't know what you don't know. And my husband would see some of the things she would do in the guilt trips. And, he said, God, my parents would never say that to me. So there was a lot of eye-opening things with her living with me that I got to see. I never would have thought of her as a narcissist, for example. I didn't even really know what that meant. I thought that was just the muscly guy at the gym. I didn't know that it was people trying. So anyway, my point is having her move in was also very eye-opening because I thought it was me all this time. I thought I was just the bitch. I thought I was the selfish person. I thought I was the spoiled brat. I thought I was the only child, all these stories. So anyway, all of that is so much garbage. It's just so much baggage of bullshit. So I'm going to take a break from it.
Yeah, I'm hearing your level of consciousness around your mother is both from a place of compassion and from a place of being in pain.
Yeah.
It's like, it sounds like you really want to have compassion for her, but you struggle because of the pain that you're feeling.
Yeah. But it's so much better than it was a week ago.
Can I reflect some things back to you?
Sure.
Well, the first thing I heard was it started from teenage through adult life. But what happened in your teenage years that started this pattern?
I think when I wasn't her thing to control, her daughter that she could boss around, enjoy me when she wanted to enjoy me. And when I became a teenager, I'm pretty strong personality. And I began to voice that pretty regularly. And so basically that's when I started to push back on some of the behaviors that I didn't like in her. The control, the manipulation. I remember saying things even as a kid, like, why are you playing these games with me? What is this? Like, why don't you just tell me what you want? I don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
So.
What was your mother's childhood like?
She grew up on a farm in South Alabama. Two, Christian Southern Baptist parents. I mean, textbook, all the way. I'm trying to understand that a little more, what she went through, because it's not just her. Some of her siblings have this sort of stuff too. So I've tried to understand that more through adult eyes, but I don't really have any answers. I don't think they were abused per se, or, anything that would have made them, other than being this manipulated guilt thing. Guilt's huge. No offense to anybody. I doubt anyone on the call would take it. Baptists are very into guilt. That's their currency. So, that was in judgment is a big one. Guilt, judgment, shame, some of these really low vibe things. And I think it just really affected them. That's all I can come up with. Nobody's a true Baptist would never reveal itself either. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, a couple of the judgments that we heard so far were manipulative and narcissistic.
Yeah, I don't know that it's narcissism. I've just done a little more research on it lately because, like I said, I thought a narcissist was your guy at the gym that thought he was all that. But apparently there's all sorts of that behavior where you're manipulating and trying to control. And, so the pattern was this growing up. She would say things and get a rise out of me. And then I would fight back. And then she would play victim and call the whole family and tell her friends and stuff what a terrible person I was. And things came to a head last September because I just decided I wasn't going to participate anymore in it. You know, I've known that this was my, what is it, in the hero's journey, the slaying of the, I mean, she's been my noble friend, whatever you want to call her, my Achilles heel, all of the things. And when I stopped trying to participate in it, she really became very angry. And that's why we had to finally get her into a different living situation, because it was just becoming too much for my kids and my husband. So
You said that she would say things and then get a rise out of you. What kind of things would she say?
oh gosh, that's an interesting question. I don't remember. I would have to really think on that.
Let's just pause for a sec. I'm just going to ask you the question again. I'd like you to just listen to your heart, okay?
Okay.
Can you give me a specific example of a memory where she said something and got a rise out of you and you fought back?
The only one that's coming up is more recent, which is unfortunate.
Tell me about that one.
Just, you never, you know, as a teenager, you just never wanted to, you know, your dad didn't care about you. He abandoned you, and I was all you had, and I did everything for you. Oh, this was one that was, this was the beating of the drum as a child, this one. I did everything for you. I sacrificed everything for you, and you're so ungrateful. I do everything for you.
It's too painful to hear that.
Yeah, it was. I sent you to college. You know, I was just a flight attendant and, you know, just on the hook for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Can I ask you a deeper question?
Yeah.
What's the oldest memory you have of believing you're ungrateful?
God. I know it goes back further, but I'm thinking of when I wrecked my car at 16. And I know it goes back further. Her buying clothes for me. Me not picking her side. I'm so close with my dad. We're just cut from the same cloth, and that was 10.
When you felt like you picked your dad's side?
I always pick my dad's side.
Let's just pause on that for a sec, Jana. When you picked your dad's side, 10 years old, what beliefs did you create about yourself in terms of your relationship with your mother?
She doesn't understand me. We're different.
Yeah,
I
keep
don't
going.
want to be her world. She needs other things besides me. It's too much pressure.
What else, Jana? When you took your dad's side over hers, what beliefs did you create about yourself?
That I am selfish, that she was the one that still raised me. My dad did leave. So guilt.
Yeah. Yeah, where do you feel that in your body right now, Jana?
Right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's just connect with that for a moment. Let's connect with that guilt. Yeah. Just let that be heard. I can feel something myself. Yeah. That little girl, 10 years old, is carrying a lot of weight, huh? She's been carrying a lot of pain all these years. All the way back since she was 10 years old, carrying all the responsibility for her mother and her father. She believes that she's selfish. She's feeling all this guilt. She's carrying a lot of pressure. Feels like her mom doesn't understand her. She's picking her dad's side. What other beliefs is she telling us about Jana? What other beliefs is your 10-year-old self telling us that she created about herself during this experience?
She's so alone. An only child.
Yeah. What else?
So afraid that she was going to be so much baggage as an only child. I remember, oh, you're an only child. Oh, like a scarlet letter.
When did your parents separate, Jana?
When I was 10.
Yeah. 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 So let's just observe this from a higher perspective. So you're 10 years old, your parents separate and you take your father's side. What belief did you create about your relationship to your mother? Let's ask that 10-year-old version of yourself. What did she decide about herself as a result of taking her father's side?
I guess that I betrayed my mom.
Yeah. Yeah, that's heavy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a heavy thing to carry all these years. Do you think a little girl that betrays her mom deserves for her mom to be loving toward her?
No.
So
Oh, that's funny.
what kind of world is she going to create from that point forward?
That's revenge.
Yeah. Why did your parents separate, Jana?
Because they're just too different. They fought all the time. Mom is a lot. My dad's just sort of easygoing.
How do you think it felt for your mom for you to take your dad's side?
Oh, she's been angry. She's told me time and time again.
What is her anger a reflection on, Jana?
Me, I guess, and feeling all that guilt for she was the one that was there. She was the one that was paying the bills. He got to go and, start over.
Yeah.
She had to stay and pick up all the pieces. So I know she's angry at me. So I feel bad. I feel a lot of guilt about that.
I'd like to offer to guide you through a process to release some of that guilt. Are you open to that?
Yeah.
It's going to be deep. It's a deep and vulnerable process. So what we discovered, Jenna, is that at 10 years old, you started picking your father's side when your parents split up, and it created guilt for you. Created guilt and beliefs that you're selfish. She raised you and you were ungrateful toward her, that you betrayed her, that she doesn't understand you, that you're different than her. That little girl inside you has been carrying a lot of guilt and a lot of shame all these years. So I think we need to give her a chance to express this to her mother right now in this space. We need to let the little girl at 10 years old express the truth to her mom. All that pain that she's been carrying all these years. Yeah. Yeah. Are you open to that, Jenna?
Yeah.
Okay, so just take a couple deep breaths. Let's connect to that pain in your stomach again. That pain, yeah, where all that shame and that guilt stuck. Let's bring the energy of your mother forward. Let's imagine that it's you when you were 10 years old and that version of your mother. Imagine that she's there with you right now. Imagine that she's sitting there with you. What you're going to do is you're going to let that 10-year-old version of yourself speak her mind, say the things that she needs to say. And without judgment, you can say whatever that little girl needs to say. You're just going to let her speak. She can say the good things. She can say the hard things. She can say the painful things. She can say the loving things. She can say everything that she needs to say. And I'm going to time you for 5 minutes, Jenna.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Speak for 5 minutes. You're going to say everything that needs to come out, okay?
Okay.
So just let me know when you're ready. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you start speaking when you're ready, out loud as if she's there with you. And I'm going to start timing you when you start speaking.
The first thing I want to say is that I am really sorry. I blamed you. I blamed your crazy ways, and I'm sorry. I also want to say thank you. Thank you for being there when he wasn't. And I'm sorry for judging you. I'm sorry. I know you were doing the best you could. Or can. But I need you. I need you not to drink this away. I need you to be here for me, not just as a body, as a warm body, but as a conscious being. I don't guess my 10-year-old would say that. I just need you not to check out and sit on the phone and swat me away when I want to tell you something. I just need you to not drink all the time. No. Love you. Yes, I'm fine, baby. I'm fine. I love you. No, baby, nothing. I'll be with you in a little bit, okay? Sounds good. Just I want you to do things with me. Playing doesn't mean I play by myself, you know. You have to do things with me. I'm lonely. We're in this together. Dang it. Who is it now? I'm fine, baby. I'm fine, I promise. Nothing. Okay. Jeez. I want to understand you. And I want you to understand me. But you can't do that distracting yourself all the time. You have to get to know me and don't make me wrong just because I disagree. Thank you.
Take a big deep breath, Jenna.
So, did my ego plan all that at the door?
Well, it's a process. It's a process.
Did my dreamer dream that part too? Yeah. It's interesting. All right. I've been on this call for what, 3 hours?
Yeah, you got lots of support at home. 2 hours, lots of support, lots of love. I want to close the loop, Jen. I want to give you an opportunity to reprogram some of this stuff. Your 10-year-old self created the belief that she was selfish and ungrateful and that her mother doesn't understand her and so much more. And I want to give you the opportunity to reparent that version of yourself, to reparent that part of yourself and help her realize that she's loved and she's perfect just the way she is. And she's going through a lot. She's just a little girl whose parents are separating. It's a serious trauma. And she just did the best that she could. So how I want to wrap this part up is I'd like you to, if you're open to it, of course, have a conversation with this 10-year-old version of yourself and channel the ideal mother. Allow that higher self, allow that motherly energy to move through you that was blocked through your mother that she wasn't able to give you and you weren't able to receive from her because of the guilt and the shame that you felt. And I'd like you to just have a conversation with that 10-year-old version of yourself as if you're the mother and help her hear what she needs to hear so that she can love herself fully. Are you open to that, Jenna?
Yes.
Okay, so when you're ready, let's just bring forward that 10-year-old version of yourself. Imagine that she's in front of you right now, and you're going to allow that higher self to channel through you into that little girl so that she can get the love that she needs. You can imagine that you're speaking to that part in your stomach, that part inside of your belly that's still feeling that pain. So when you're ready, you start speaking to her as if she's there with you right now.
Sweetheart. You don't have to be the strong one right now. I know this hurts. You can just be vulnerable. I'm here for you and I love you so much. I'm here to listen. I'm here to understand. You can talk to me. You're going to be okay. And the more you can just feel this, sit with it. I know it hurts. But I promise you it will feel better. If you just let it pass through. And I'm here to hold you. And support you and love you. And if you want to scream, scream. And if you want to fall apart, you can fall apart. And if you want to, whatever you want, whatever you need, I'm here. Not now. No. Just don't try to rationalize your way through this. Just feel it. And understand that your parents are just humans too, doing the best they can. And that they love you best way they know how. What do you need from me? Just a hug. I'm here for you. You don't have to do this all by yourself.
Nice work, Jana. Just take a big deep breath. Nice work. I just want to acknowledge your courage and your willingness to be vulnerable in front of all these people. It takes a lot of courage.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking me deeper than I've ever been able to go in my meditations by myself doing this kind of work. I've held her before in different places, but not quite so deep. And so thank you so much.
Yeah. The little girl's been in pain for a long time.
So hot. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep, so much.
You've been carrying a lot.
And I used to say, and this is what's so tricky about it all, is I said, no, I mean, this is a good thing. You know, at 10 years old, this is a good thing. They don't get along. They'll be happier. I want them to get divorced. That was what I said. That's what I thought I felt.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the support in the group.
Thank you.
Jen, I'm going to take you off the hot seat for right now, but I'd like to give you
Okay, I feel like it took a lot of time, but thank
no,
you.
it's okay. I'd like to give you a homework assignment if you're open to it.
Sure.
I'd like you to write a letter from the future to yourself, telling you how beautiful your relationship with your mother is now.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 24 hours to do that and send it to me when you're done, okay?
Okay.
Jana, what are the insights you're taking away from this conversation?
Just how much I carried about how I sided with my dad. It never really came up before. And how much I projected onto her because of it. I just thought it was just who she is.
Yeah.
Like I told you when we started connecting about all this, like it's like I was able to do it with everything else. Like I am that, I am that, I am that, but not you, but I am that, I am that, I'm everything but her. And so this has really helped me see where my part was in it. And yeah, that was probably my biggest takeaway, is really seeing my part and not feeling like, because I don't want to feel like a victim. I don't do that energy anymore, you know, and I was still playing that with her and I wanted to be rid of it. Yeah. And now I see how it was my part.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. And, you know, the people in our lives, the greatest, the most challenging lesson for me has been that the people who trigger me are reflections of me. They're coming from me, not to me.
Yeah.
And when I learn the lessons they have for me to learn, then the triggers go away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice work, Jana. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jana. I'm going to put you on mute and I'm going to check in with Haley next. I know Haley's just pumped now. Let me just find you, Haley, so I can unmute you. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Should be able to unmute yourself, Haley.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm feeling all the feelings.
Yeah. You ready to play?
Yeah, game on.
Okay. So you know the drill. Let's get nice and comfortable. Take a couple of deep breaths. Close your eyes. Get present. I know you have some big changes. I got your messages and your application. Let's let all of that go for this moment. Let's
I
just
don't remember anything I wrote yesterday.
It's okay. It's not necessary. Yesterday doesn't exist. Just be present in this moment. And I'm going to ask you the question, just sit with it until the answer becomes crystal clear. Let it come to you. What would make this an extraordinary conversation for you today, Haley?
If I walked away believing in myself that I don't need fancy equipment or money to be successful online working with a social media branding scheme.
Yeah. So let's imagine that we get rid of that right away. Let's imagine that we crush that in the next 2 minutes. What would you ask for after that?
Balance. I find that I always care way too much or way too little. I don't have balance in any area of my life that like screams I'm doing great with that. But especially in regards to relationships, I don't want to be as all or nothing as I have been.
Yeah, it's interesting that all or nothing. I wonder how that's a reflection of thinking you need fancy equipment to succeed.
Touche. I personally, like a limiting belief I've had is that I've always been an all or nothing person. I'm either overdoing something or I'm just not doing it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's pause on that for a second. All or nothing or not doing. We're going to come back to that. Let's start with the equipment. Haley, why do you trust me to do this work with you?
Question. When you first started speaking publicly and getting coached yourself, like specifically, I'm thinking about like Rich Litvin times. I don't know how many years ago that was, but it was just a feeling. I didn't trust you then, but something guided me towards you. And now I trust you more, but I'm still like, you said, don't trust me, don't believe anything. So I'm like gripping onto that as well.
Yeah. How much did my equipment have something to do with that?
0.
Yeah. If I had more fancy equipment, would that make you trust me more or less?
It wouldn't have an impact.
Why?
Because what you give me is just through you, and like the device doesn't matter. We've done calls without video that have been just as powerful as video calls.
What's the difference between you and I then? Why do you need the equipment, but I don't?
I think that would make me feel like I really want to present to people like I'm already established. I don't want people to realize how like groundbreaking I am with my business right now. I have lots of experience with the things that I talk about. So when it comes to like my website, my social media and stuff like that, I just feel like it's lacking. There's so much competition out there that I look at other people's pages and I'm just like, I don't get stuck in like failure mode, but it is overwhelming, like especially just this day and age, it seems so convoluted for people to be doing Instagram things.
Yeah. How many of those people have you seen their bank accounts?
None.
Yeah. Have you seen my website recently?
No.
No. Pretty much almost nobody on this call has seen my website because it's one page and there's nothing on it. Don't compare your life to other people's highlight reel. That's what my coach told me. Don't compare your life to other people's highlight reel. The people that look like they have it together usually don't. The people that do usually don't spend their time pretending that they do. Who would you be more relatable to? The person with the really fancy website or the person with the one-page website?
The one pager.
Yeah, this is a common misconception. And for the rest of you who are coaches or healers, this is a common misconception in this industry, is that we have to look like we have it together in order to attract clients. And I'm just going to be straight up with you and say it's the biggest myth and limiting belief there is in this industry. And it's the thing that holds most people back. And I've been there. I have a mentor I work with, and not that long ago, I was like, oh, I gotta upgrade my website. I'm about to hire a web designer. I'm going to pay $6,000, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, why are you doing that? And I was like, oh, to get more leads. He's like, no. He said, which websites convert more? Ones that are fancy or ones that aren't? I was like, ones that are fancy? He's like, is that a question or is that an answer? And I was like, it's a question. He's like, yeah, the answer's wrong. The ones that are least fancy are the ones that actually convert leads, because people want to feel relatable to you. They don't want you to be out of reach. If you're looking for fans, then have a fancy Instagram. If you're looking for clients, then be a real person.
Thank you for that, Ricky.
Fans don't always make you money. Fans just want to follow your shit. Doesn't mean they're going to pay you anything. My highest paying clients, if you met them at a coffee shop, you would think that they made 20 grand a year and they're millionaires. Because they don't dress like it, they don't act like it, they don't flash it, because they don't need to, because their validation is generated from within.
Well, back to that fancy web page thing, like for me, I know everybody's different, but for me, I don't buy anything if it's not a simple process, like a simple click. If it's like, go to this link, find something, do it this way, make sure you share and like it. I'm just like, eh. So
yeah. So let's scratch that. Do you feel like anything's necessary there? Anything else did we miss on that topic?
No, that feels good. You're pretty on point there.
It doesn't matter, really. It doesn't matter. The stuff that converts highest is real. It's been time tested. It's proven by the best marketers in the world. And again,
I know that it's just easy to forget. It's easy to forget in this world of social media that's all flash and jazz and music and popping and you know.
Yeah, if you want to go viral and get a bunch of fans, then you can follow that path, but that's not guaranteed. If you want to get clients, then you said it earlier, it's about how people feel when they're around you. So let's imagine that we can wave a magic wand and we can create something by the rest of this conversation. What would you ask for?
If I could create something. Can we create a tool that takes emotional weight off of my shoulders?
What's the emotional weight that you have on your shoulders?
I told you briefly about the person that I thought was a really supportive friend in my life who I had in my home. And she very much verbally attacked me for not, she was extremely personally frustrated that my Instagram and my webpage sucks so bad when she's trying to help me with photography and things like that. She went to school for photography, and this is like where her knowledge lies. We got into one disagreement before because she was giving me all of this advice, and like, I truly was appreciating what she was telling me, but I had a conversation with her that like, thank you so much, but I didn't ask for your help. And you absolutely are the first person I will come to when I'm welcoming and like ready to receive. But I really tried to communicate with her, like, I'm so much more receptive when I'm ready. And I've never been someone who likes to be told what to do, like, unless I'm asking for that. And unless it's presented in like a really supportive way, I for sure like don't receive it as well. So we had this really great conversation. I felt like we came out stronger, better, like closer friends, all of that. So when she exploded on me this weekend, it was just like, whoa. And again, she was so personally offended that I didn't do A, B, and C with the things that she demanded of me that I never asked for. And when I just tried to communicate with her again, like how I will receive information better, because she was literally on her feet yelling at me, like calling me lazy and saying I'm not doing anything. And how would you feel if you were my personal trainer and I wasn't listening? And I said, it's frustrating. I understand why you're frustrated, but I would assume the help was wanted and asked for. And also, if you told me, please don't speak to me this way, I would at least take a moment to think about that and consider speaking to you differently. When I asked her to like change her tone, she would not even consider that. She literally told me to fuck my feelings. So, you know, I'm okay with not carrying a friend around like that. I'm okay to let her go completely. It's been baffling me that I still feel it because this happened on Saturday. Like, I'm so okay with it. Like, I don't need closure. It can just gently leave my space, but I don't know why I still feel it. I can't even, I guess just because I took it so personally about my website, but I really am trying my best. Like, I'm friggin' trying. I've been asking for help in other areas because she just, again, had been so demanding and non-supportive. I was seeking help in other areas and that really offended her as well. And yeah, that's it. Just the weight of like the intensity. I don't know why I can't shake it off. Sorry if I rambled there.
No, it's all good. What's the website for?
My fitness business. You know, I've been a personal trainer for over 15 years now, but I've never tried to do it in an online forum, like fitness class style. I still do one-on-one, but it is a new venture.
Yeah, this is an interesting question because you're telling me a lot by your answer. What's the website for?
The website is for people to purchase fitness programs with me.
Does that work?
Does it work? Well,
Yeah.
I haven't actually launched my website yet. I don't know what works. I am so like one of those people starting a business and trying to learn everything on YouTube, you know? Like literally I get up and I have my coffee and I'm like, YouTube, help me with ideas.
Yeah. This is good. You know, a lot of entrepreneurs think that like, well, I need a website. An expert marketer that I really respect will say, well, what does your website do though? Well, it sells stuff. Yeah, but how does it sell things? And a lot of people don't know the answer to that question. It's like, what's your system? What's your process? If you don't know the answer to that, the website's pointless. So it sounds like your intuition is kind of like, well, it sounds like this person was trying to force their idea that you need a website onto you. So I'm wondering, is this person that you're talking about, do they have a successful business that a website creates leads and business for?
No, and she wasn't trying to force a website on me. It was just like the quality of my content, which what I'm doing on Instagram, I didn't expect to just be on my website. It would have like, hopefully a little bit just like better quality pictures than what's on my phone. But yeah, like she doesn't have any of the things I'm trying to build. So I don't know why she's so intense about it or so attached to it for me. She said, like when she was screaming at me, I only want you to succeed. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's slow down for a sec. So I'm feeling the need to just kind of get to the deeper root of what's really going on here. So
Please.
She's giving you advice without permission. What's the real issue here when it comes to relationships? What's the pattern that's coming up that showed up in other relationships for you?
Well, what I'm starting to believe now, like for years, I have been increasing my self-love, my happiness, my energy, like really just trying to raise my vibe and my frequency. And I thought, like before this happened, because this was really humbling, I really thought I was starting to draw these energetic matches into my life, you know, not just in friendships and then dating and stuff like that. I just felt like everybody was vibing a little bit higher. But there's been a few things that have been like a slap in the face in 2022 that I'm like, oh, that's not my tribe. These aren't my people. I'm in the wrong place again. And how did this happen? Because
Let me just pause you. Hold on, Haley. I think this is important insight for you. This is good. So if you could label her behavior in one word, what would you label it? Or 2 words, 1 or 2 words. How would you label that behavior?
My brain just won't stop saying bitch, but I don't even want to present it that way. But
Well,
she was very bitchy with me.
Yeah, let's pause there. So you ready for the deep question?
Are you going to call me a bitch?
What's the most recent example where you judged yourself as being bitchy?
Most recent. It's weird. The closest thing I can think of was 6 months ago, but my stepdad was here and he received the full side of my bitchiness for sure.
How was your behavior then a reflection of her behavior now?
Similar.
Yeah. So what do you think the universe was doing by putting this relationship in your life?
I'm not sure. Like I recognized right away the way that she was behaving. Like all I could think was that was me 6, 7, 8 years ago. Like that's why it shook me up so much because I've worked so hard not to be that person myself.
Have you
What was?
Have you forgiven yourself for being that person?
Yeah.
What about 6 months ago?
Oh, geez. No, I've just literally been living in the bubble of fear of when I have to see my stepdad again and deal with that again because he like I just can't remember the last time I was that triggered and reactive, you know?
Yeah. Did you make amends with him yet or neutralize that in any way?
No, he told the rest of the family that he said he was sorry and that we hashed it out and it did not happen. Like that's the kind of person he is.
Let's imagine that he's a reflection of your consciousness and there is no stepdad. He's a character in your dream. Whose responsibility is it to make amends if that was true? This is an important lesson for everyone in the group right now. The universe will give us a reflection of the energy we're carrying inside of ourselves. And the characters that show up and create pain in our lives are reflections of the ways that we've created pain for others and ourselves. And the pain will continue to present itself until we neutralize it somehow. If you could label your stepdad's behavior in one word or judgment, what would it be?
Sad.
What's the next question I'm going to ask you?
I forget the rules of the game.
Yeah. What's that a reflection of for you?
I guess we both have sadness. They just come from such different places that I didn't see that as a mirror, you know?
Yeah. Haley and I have played this game for years now. That's why I'm being so quick with her. If it was in it, you know, if it's somebody I haven't played with before, I might be a little gentler, but Haley, she came to play. So that's why I'm playing at this level with her. So the reflection of your stepdad, the sadness is a reflection of your sadness, and the reflection of this friend, the bitchiness, is a reflection of your bitchiness toward your stepdad.
The house of mirrors.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a humbling thing to accept if we want to live from the place of our higher self. I have to accept that there is no one else. There's only me. In my
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I was doing that higher self practice and like how your higher self would talk or handle situations, I just can't even visualize that. Like the particular thing that sticks out in my mind when I actually did like raise my voice at my stepdad, he was being so incredibly rude to like a server in a restaurant. I just don't know how I could like ever handle a situation like that without making him
Yeah, let's pause on that
really
again.
defensive.
Just hold
Yeah.
that thought. The rudeness. What's the next question I'm going to ask you?
Where's that reflection of my rudeness?
Uh-huh. Yeah, why did it trigger you so much?
When I said all or nothing, one of my biggest attachments is like desperately wanting everybody to find that peace within themselves, to not create like that stress and that shitty attitude out of anything. But I've had to let go of that because everyone's on a different journey. I can't expect people to be ready for the help and ready for the exploration of self and the growth. And that used to really kill me because I just wanted to shake people and be like, wake up.
Yeah.
And now that I've let go of that, I've been trying to, like, I realized I've accidentally been manifesting low frequency people with thoughts like people suck, you know, like my mom always says, I hate humans when she gets frustrated with her job and taking calls with people just being unkind. And, you know, like that's such a normal part of the world. And I don't know, again, like I just desperately want everyone to see that, how much their unkindness affects the world negatively and how much if they were just slightly more kind, it would change their lives along with the rest of the world.
So let's just pause. Let's pause on that sex. So you said about kindness. Where does the kindness have to come in order for you to experience it in your reality?
Where does it have to come from?
Yeah. If your reality is a reflection of you, where does the kindness have to come from in order for you to experience it in your reality?
Just from other people living their
No.
lives. In a,
Well, let me ask you again, Haley. Let's imagine that everything is a reflection of you.
okay.
Where does the kindness have to come first?
Well, it has to come from me.
Is that only when other people are kind?
No.
Is it always? This is what they call the big pill. You see, kindness and unconditional love, they're not conditional to other people's behavior. They're
well, no, and
It's
sorry,
triggering
I
you,
didn't mean to, no, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like
Okay.
one of my biggest moments of growth was when this girl was snapping at me in my own home. And that's all I could think was like, how kind I am being, just letting her let it all out and listening because I was genuinely curious, like what was coming up for her. But like, I was so gentle in receiving all of that. And again, like I know that I didn't have the capacity to leave that space 5 years ago. And of course,
Yeah.
like old patterns do surge. There was a part of me that wanted to like drag her out of my home and tell her she's not welcome here. But, you know, she said everything she wanted to say and then left. And that was what I wanted, was for her to leave. And I didn't even have to ask her to.
So I'm just going to pause you again. So can I reflect back what I'm seeing?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that, and these are just the stories I create, and you know, you have to check in with yourself and see if these land well for you. So this girl was really, in your words, bitchy to you, and she was crossing boundaries and telling you how to live your life and giving you advice that wasn't asked for, and then wondering why you're not taking it, which you responded to in kindness. So it sounds like you neutralized some of that so-called karma. You neutralized some of that energy, which was a reflection of how you treated your stepdad 6 months ago. And so I wonder, if this situation was a way for you to neutralize some of the energy from your relationship with your stepdad. And then I also wonder where the kindness was for him. And I wonder if you are really just having kindness for yourself when you are having kindness for this woman, having kindness for the parts of yourself who behave this way towards your stepfather. And I also wonder if when you were not so kind to him, if you were giving advice without permission about how he should live his life. And I wonder if the reason it triggered you so much is because it was a reflection of your own behavior. And I wonder if there's an opportunity for you to do some inventory on your judgments toward your stepdad and see how they are reflections of your own self-judgments that you haven't forgiven yourself for yet. Dr. John DeMartini in the movie The Secret said, if you go through the dictionary and write down every word you could use to judge somebody else, and write down at least one person for every one of those words, and then beside those people's names, write an example where you have been that thing, you'll be healed. Yeah.
Okay.
Our triggers.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Our triggers are reflections of our own self-judgments. I'm going to take you off the hot seat and give you some homework, Haley. Are you up for that?
Yeah, always.
I know. So I want you to write a list of 25 judgments you have about your stepfather.
25 judgments. Okay.
25 judgments, like labels, like rude or anything like that.
Just
And then
one word judgments?
One or two words, yeah. Just like a simple
Okay.
judgment. And then beside those words, you're going to write down an example where you have been that thing, or you have behaved in a similar way.
Okay.
I did this assignment for my mother, and it was really difficult because I got to see how alike my mother and I actually are, and how when she triggers me, it's really just reminding me of parts of myself I haven't accepted yet. And sometimes the people closest to us are the greatest mirrors. They remind us so much of ourselves, and we hate to see it because we haven't actually created that kindness for ourselves yet. Kindness is something that starts here. Starts here. When I can have kindness here, then my world will reflect back that kindness.
Okay, I have one question before you go, Ricky.
Uh-huh.
When we were climbing the ladder to our higher self and everybody received a crystal, did everybody put it in their heart?
No.
Okay, I was just the way you replied to it. I said, did everyone do the same thing? I thought that would have been crazy, but
Yeah.
okay.
No, at different places. The heart's a common place, but no, not everywhere. Cool.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to give you 24 hours for that homework. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Haley.
Bye.
So that's it for coaching, guys. What I want to do now for the next few minutes is I want to do just a quick fire Q&A. So what I'd like you to do is just check in based on this whole presentation today and based on the emails that I might have sent you or any other questions you have about living your higher self. I just want you to, if you have a question, type it in the chat. We're just going to do a quick fire Q&A for the next 10 minutes or so. So any questions you have, this could be about your own personal relationships. This could be about something that you just want to understand, or something that we covered here today, or anything at all. So we're going to take the next about 14 minutes and do this Q&A, and then we're going to wrap up shortly after that. So any questions you have at all, no limits to what you can ask right now. You can ask anything. I'm not going to coach you around it. I'm just going to answer the question from my perspective. So I'm not going to answer it directly and say, this is what you should do. I might say, this is what I might do, or I might say, this is how I understand this. So Dion just asked, how do you begin to tame the ego? So that's a great question. For me, taming the ego starts with understanding my impulses, understanding how impulses happen. I learned that impulses are manifestations of unconscious behavior patterns, unconscious belief patterns that are stored in my nervous system. So I have to learn how to tame my unconscious behavior patterns, which requires healing my unprocessed emotions. So it's a deep process. Sabrina asked, can I be completely free of anxiety? My opinion is yes. I have a roommate who struggled from serious anxiety. I did too. Yes, you can completely free yourself from various types of anxiety. I don't know how long it's going to take somebody. I'm not saying I'm completely free, but I can do things that I would have never imagined I could do before. Chelsea said, what's the importance of figuring out what our created or childhood beliefs are and how to change them. So our beliefs are like computer programs. If you look at your computer or your device right now, there are programs running in the background that are causing your device to work. The reason that you can see what's happening right now is because there are programs running. If you had a virus on your computer, then the virus would take over and it would make your computer behave in different ways. Well, your traumas and your limiting beliefs and your unconscious pain are like viruses that manipulate your behavior, and they start all the way back in childhood. Up to 75% of our core beliefs are formed in the first 12 years of our lives. We form them based on the relationships to our parents and our grandparents and our siblings and society. And those core programs influence our behavior. Up to 95% of your decisions every day are completely unconscious based on your childhood beliefs. So that means how you speak to your intimate partner, how you speak to your children, how you speak to people at the store, how you approach your finances, how you approach your body is all based on programming you started creating in your childhood. We can change that programming just like we changed the programming in a computer, like how you upgrade from like Windows 98 to whatever Windows, whatever it is now, 10 or 11. We can upgrade our programming in the same way. If we don't upgrade it, then we're going to live a default life. In other words, we're going to live a life that looks a lot like our parents' lives and the lives of the parents that we lived around when we were growing up. Sabrina said, how can you live and always act from a place of love? By developing unconditional love for ourselves. It's the short answer. When we unconditionally love ourselves, which takes deep work, which a lot of forgiveness work, a lot of compassion work, then we can live from a place of love. When unconditional love and self-acceptance and compassion are our default core programs, when that's our default habit, our default core programming, then we will naturally live from that place. In the meantime, we have to start with compassion, because compassion, in my understanding, is the road to love. Because I'm not always going to be perfect when I start out. And in fact, I'll never be perfect. So I have to have compassion for myself in the present moment as I'm learning. When a kid is starting to walk, they're going to stand up and they're going to fall down. How many parents on the call? Just raise your hand if you're a parent. You know, like, yeah, your child stands up and then they fall down. And then they stand up and then they fall down. And then they stand up and they fall down. If you yelled at the kid and said, you're stupid, you don't know how to walk, you're never going to figure it out, what's wrong with you? That kid's not going to learn how to walk. But why do we talk to ourselves that way when we get things wrong? Why do we talk to ourselves that way when we don't do things right away? It's the same principle. So it's having compassion for ourselves. Carly-Ann said, where and how do you start to accept or forgive yourself when you have a self-judgment? Well, that's a great question. That question is the answer. How do we start? Just like that. We say, okay, well, you recognize it and you ask the question, well, how can I forgive myself right now? And I sometimes ask my inner child, like, what are you needing right now? Like what Jana did earlier. And she said, well, I need a hug. And maybe that's what you need in those moments. It's like you recognize the judgment and then you hug yourself. But the deeper answer to that question is to change the programming, change the core belief that leads to the judgment. And that requires work. I can't do that by myself. I have people that help me do that for me because I can't see my own blind spots and I can't take myself through that process. We can take ourselves to a certain degree, but we can't take ourselves all the way without somebody that can see our blind spots, in my experience at least. Cameron said, what are the reasons for being overweight? Is it an emotional root? Is everything an emotional root? Yes. In my opinion, yes. The answer is yes. Everything is related to our emotions. For those of you who are in my last presentation, Unbecoming Your False Identity, I covered this. This is in the pilgrimage, the program and the system that this event is based on. I've created a system that helps you go through this whole process of uprooting these emotional roots and understanding how you store them in the first place. But basically, your beliefs lock in your emotions lock in your limiting beliefs. So when you have unprocessed pain, it locks in a belief. So if the belief for me, my dad called me fat when I was like 8 years old, and I created the belief that I was fat. And even when I was in really incredible shape, I thought I was fat and I was bulimic. I would eat until I threw up and all sorts of things because I had this belief that I was fat, which was tied to emotions of shame and guilt for not being enough. And the shame and the guilt locked into the belief, and then the belief created the being overweight. Chelsea said, if you could say only one positive affirmation or statement to yourself, what would it be? I am love. I am love, and love is all there is. Thanks for asking that question. Cameron said, would you say that seeking understanding is an antidote to judgment? Yes, great way. I mean, understanding to me means understanding how we create the pain in the first place. After understanding how my childhood behavior and all the traumas that I experienced are the reason that I've behaved in ways that have hurt myself and others. It helped me completely heal myself and completely forgive myself. Everyone listen carefully with this. Everything you've ever done to hurt yourself or others happened to you first. Think about that thing that you're most ashamed of right now. The worst thing that you've ever done. Think about that thing right now. The thing that it makes you sick to your stomach to even think that you did it. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It was an expression and a manifestation of your own trauma from the past. It was a manifestation and an expression of the pain that you experienced first. I'm not saying it's not your responsibility, but I'm saying it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Just like you get dog poop in your feet, it's not your responsibility or your fault, but you got to clean it off, or you're going to be dragging shit all over the place, right? So you step in dog poop and you got to clean it off, but that doesn't mean it's your fault. It is your responsibility though. Likewise, these traumas that create behavior that lead to us behaving in ways that hurt ourselves or others, it's not our fault, but it is our responsibility. Sabrina said, why are people born with sickness? Is everything connected to an emotional root? Does it come from the mother? This is a deep question, Sabrina. My personal understanding is that we inherit trauma through our ancestral line. It's passed through our DNA from both of our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents and so on. We receive that ancestral trauma, and then we have the responsibility to heal it for our family. When we heal it, we send it back up the line, and the trauma heals on an ancestral level. We can actually watch our parents and our grandparents and even our siblings transform in our quantum world when we healed our relationship to them. So in other words, when I started healing my relationship to my family started healing without me actually doing any healing on them. I'm just going to pause on that so you understand what I'm saying. If you heal your relationship to your family, they will no longer be the version of them that you keep creating. They will change in your reality because they are a reflection of your energy. If you purge the pain that you have towards your family can change. You can shift realities, if that's how you'd like to understand it. You can manifest a different version of them. You can create a different version of your family without doing anything. So you can't try to change your family because that's impeding free will. And that's like a big spiritual no-no. You can't impede free will, but you can change your observation and your expectation of your family. When you change your observation and your expectation of your family, like what Jana did in her exercise, when you change how you see your family can, and in most cases, in my experience, will change. They will change. Paulo said, how can we evaluate how much we have the release from those childhood programs? Just by how we react and how our behaviors and for normal person that works on it, how many years can it take? The short answer is, I don't know, Paulo, it's different for everyone. I believe that there are ways to do it really, 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 really quickly. That's what I'm most passionate about, is helping people get there at light speed, because we can get there at light speed. We can get, in 5 years, we can get 50 years worth of trauma work done if we know what we're doing and we work with experts who have been there. It's different for everyone, but it's really relative to your willingness to do the work. We can't rush the process. And if we do, we can actually hurt ourselves, but we can get there in an extraordinarily fast way. We can get there in a quick way, especially if we know what we're doing and we're working with people that are experts, or if we're working with somebody that really knows how to do powerful healing work. In my opinion, it's important to find a healer who's done the type of work that you want to do on yourself. A healer can only take their clients as deep as they've gone themselves. So I seek healers and coaches and psychologists who are extraordinary experts in trauma and in deep work, because that's the level I want to get to. I want to get to the level of being totally clean, totally healed, to the best of my ability. I'm not saying that I think that's possible to be completely healed, but I think that we can get to an extraordinarily high level of consciousness. I think that the Buddha and Jesus and Muhammad and Moses and all these characters we hear about in the history, I think that they were able to achieve this in different ways, through spiritual practices, through plant medicines, through deep healing work, through fasting, through different types of detoxing. I think that they were able to achieve these extraordinary states of consciousness. And so there are lots of ways to get there. I encourage you to find a healer you trust. Listen to your intuition. Ask, who am I meant to ask for help from? And this person can take you to a level far beyond what you can do by yourself, because they already know the path. So find somebody that knows the path and can take you there and take you further than you can take yourself. It's like, I can only see to the level of my trauma, but somebody that's already healed that type of trauma can see from a higher level. They're like standing on a mountain looking down at me in the middle of the woods, and I'm just in the dark trying to find my way around, but they're up there on the top of the mountain able to navigate me and tell me where I need to go, places I can't see on my own. Got about 2 or 3 more minutes, everyone. Any other questions? There's no question you can't ask right now. It doesn't matter how big it is. I wasn't making this about this. I'm in kind of a channeled state right now. So if I don't understand it, I can at least tell you what's coming through for me. So any questions at all, everyone? 2 more minutes. Cameron said, what are you channeling? There's only one source, I guess, from my opinion. It's just wisdom, just understanding, just truth and love. That which cannot be named. Heather said, do you have a morning ritual you could share? Yeah, I mean, I think what's important about the morning ritual is to do what you need, the medicine that you need. But for me, it's a combination of meditation and breath work and mantras and prayers and polyvagal exercises and visualization, connecting to different energies based on my intention for the day. Those are my fundamental basics as I do mantras, meditation, breath work, prayer, and polyvagal exercises and visualization. But it takes me about 90 minutes each morning. But that's just me. You have to find what works for you. Alexander said, why are my actions not matching my ideas and thoughts? Why do I do the opposite, although I know better? Exactly. Great question, Alexander, because your core programming and the unprocessed pain is manipulating your behavior and causing you to act in ways that your inner child or your subconscious mind thinks is going to keep you safe. So even though you logically want to act in a different way, your subconscious mind and your core programming is not fully aligned yet. So you're behaving in ways that your subconscious mind thinks is going to keep you safe, but it's based on outdated programming. It's based on programming from the past. So either your teenage years or your childhood or some other time. So a great example I love to share is like if a child gets bit by a dog and then grows into an adult, doesn't process the being bit by a dog, then the child might end up being afraid of dogs. They might even be angry toward dogs as a way of keeping themselves safe. So that the adult, even though it knows that the dog can't hurt it or isn't likely to hurt it, it can even be abusive toward the dog as a way of keeping itself safe. And then the adult might feel shame and guilt around their behavior toward the dog, but they don't know why they're doing it. If you've ever said something really hurtful to your intimate partner, raise your hand if you did. Just kidding. I mean, I have. And if you've ever said anything really hurtful, you've ever done anything really regretful, you ever smashed something or say something really horrible, and then you're like, what did I just do that? Why did I just do that? Why did I do that? Why would I behave that way? It's because you're behaving at the level of your trauma. You're not behaving at the level of your intellect, because when you're in a triggered state, the blood leaves the brain and heads down to the limbic system, heads down to the lower part of the mind, lower part of the consciousness, and then you behave to the limit of your trauma. So you behave in a way that tries to keep you safe. So it's not your fault. Anna said, so to tap to the universe, what else can we do? Keep asking that question, because the answers will come to you. I can continue to give you lots of answers, but the answers are endless. So what's important is to keep asking that question, because there's a blueprint inside of you that's going to guide you to those answers. So keep looking for synchronicities and asking that question. We're going to answer the rest of the questions that are on here, and then we're going to switch to the final presentation. Sabrina said, how do you make sure you stay grounded even while doing a lot of crown third chakra work? So being grounded for me is all about practice. So again, it's meditation, it's breath work, it's yoga, it's exercise, it's eating a really clean diet, it's freeing myself of addictions, it's connecting to the earth, it's practicing mantras, it's visualization. This is my whole life. I mean, there's not much I do that isn't spiritual work. From the start, time I start my day to the end of the day is all spiritual work, except for once in a while when I watch Star Wars movies or some kind of like Star Wars rerun, or if they get sucked into something like that. But generally, it's a lifestyle, and again, it's a lifestyle. So that's the answer: it's a lifestyle. Haley said, "How do I remain kind without feeling walked on or taken for granted?" Great question. I mean, the answer is with a lot of patience and compassion. With a lot of patience and compassion, and doing the deeper work into why do I feel like I deserve to be walked on and taken for granted, and getting to the root of those programs. Because if you can uproot and heal those programs, then you'll stop getting walked on or taken for granted, because every bit of suffering you experience is the game or the universe showing you what else you need to heal. Every bit of experience is the universe lovingly, unconditionally lovingly showing you what else needs to be healed. When you heal the root of the suffering disappears. So you won't experience the suffering anymore when you heal the root of it. The universe is not punishing you. God is not punishing you. God is showing you, or universe is showing you what you haven't healed yet. You're the player in the game. You're in the middle of the game. You're the center of the universe in your experience of reality. You're not being punished. There's nothing happening to you. Everything is happening from you. Everything is happening from you. Cameron said, patience is understanding. No patience, no understanding. I love that. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so some of you have been emailing me and asking me what the pilgrimage is. I'm just going to show you a little presentation quickly. This isn't a sales pitch. You can't join the pilgrimage right now, even if you try. I just want to help you all kind of understand what we do, because I'm really happy about this work that we're doing. So you asked, what is the pilgrimage? And really, the pilgrimage is a self-ascension system for conscious coaches and healers who want to break free from their false identity or their ego and become their true authentic self. A lot of this work, I created the pilgrimage based on mentorships with shamans in Cusco, Peru, coaches from Santa Monica, California, high magicians from Canada, and a lot of it was also channeled through esoteric rituals, high magic rituals, and other practices. I can't get into the whole story here. I tell the story in the pilgrimage, but basically it's a self-ascension system. It's a system that helps you heal your false identity or your ego and become your true, authentic, higher self. It's based on 3 pillars. Community, which you're learning now. When you see other people going through this work, then you have more faith in yourself and more faith in your own healing, because we're all reflections of one another. It's also education, understanding the process of healing your false identity or your ego. And then you have to have a strategy. There needs to be a step-by-step process. So with the pilgrimage, we have live online events like this. That's what you're part of right now. I opened them up because we've closed enrollment. So I thought, well, why don't we share this with other people? Having accountability partners in the program that can help you get through the deep work and sort of like a sponsor in AA, somebody that can tell you, hey, listen, I've been there. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not alone. I'm here to support you, and I'm going to help you get through these hard parts. And then private support groups. We have WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups, in-person meetups. If you're here in Tulum, Mexico, I have meetups here every 2 weeks. We do authentic relating games, and we've got a group program happening on Saturday and different things like that keep you living in a high state of consciousness. Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time around. I said that earlier. If you're around 5 broke, sick, unhappy people, you're going to be the 6th. If you're around 5 successful, fulfilled, joyful people, you're going to be the 6th. Who you spend your time around is how you spend your time. Next is the education. So pilgrimage includes video lessons, assignments, rituals, and those are high magic rituals and practices to help you understand the process of inner transformation. Steve Ozenich calls this knowledge therapy. When you understand how your subconscious programming was created, then your subconscious mind will naturally start to heal the subconscious programming just through the process of understanding how it was created in the first place. So education is very important. And then the next pillar is a strategy. So we have a step-by-step higher self formula that helps you understand the 5 dimensions of your being, which is mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, and your consciousness dimension. And it guides you to actually purge the pain and the programming that keeps you stuck living life as your untamed ego. So we have to tame that ego. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's deep work. If any of you have been through the 12 steps of AA, it's a really deep process. I've been through it before, not for AA, but for cannabis addiction. And it's really deep. And the pilgrimage is even deeper. It takes you even deeper through that process, helps you become your higher self. So here's what our members tell us that the pilgrimage helps you with. First of all, taking action on the big goals and dreams that you keep putting off for someday when things are different. We all do it. So, if you've got a dream for a business, a dream for a speaking career, a dream to become a really powerful coach or to create an online business, but you keep putting it off for someday when things are different, well, the pilgrimage helps you take action on those goals and dreams. Helps you connect with your deeper mission and purpose so you can live a life of happiness, fulfillment, and inspiration. I believe that when you're living your deeper mission and purpose, you're going to change the world. My dream is for the pilgrimage to work with hundreds of thousands of people so that we can create a relationship with our higher self so powerful that we transform the whole world. Helps you stop people pleasing, seeking validation, and pretending you're someone you're not so you can fit in with others. Show of hands if you've been there. I still catch myself sometimes doing this. And when I find it, I heal it, but I have to find it to heal it. Helps you break addictive habits that lead to emotional numbness, like over-consuming junk foods, Star Wars movies, social media, drugs, and alcohol. Again, this is part of the human paradigm. We've been programmed to do this. There's nothing wrong with you if this is part of your challenge. There's just healing that needs to be done. My mentor, a shaman I respect, said, don't quit the medicine. In other words, don't quit your addiction. Quit the pain that's creating the addiction. Don't try to quit smoking. Quit the pain that leads to smoking. And if you don't know what that pain is, then you're going to need help to figure that out. It helps you feel at home everywhere you go and feel accepted no matter what other people think of you. Because when you have a strong community that accepts you for who you are, you don't need validation from others. Most of us, myself included, didn't grow up with a family that fully loves and accepts us. We didn't grow up with a family that fully supports us and helps us feel like we belong and are accepted. So we need to have that somewhere. Helps you open your heart to more love, connection, and intimacy with the people who are most important to you. This includes the family members that drive you crazy. It includes them. You can have more intimacy, more love and connection with them. Helps you resolve old relationship drama with the people who get under your skin and drive you crazy. You saw some of that today. You saw how that process works. It's a deeper process that keeps going deeper, but that's the idea behind it. It'll help you develop social skills that allow you to expand your life and business exponentially without feeling like a fraud or an imposter. If you feel like a fraud or an imposter in your business, I get that. I've been there. And it was because I was being a fraud and imposter in a lot of ways. I wasn't meeting my own needs. I wasn't setting clear, healthy boundaries for myself. It will help you forgive yourself for everything you've ever done, no matter what kind of life you've lived in the past. And finally, it'll help you develop a relationship with God, creator, or conscious universe in a way that feels right for you without giving into strict religion or dogma. So just quickly, the pilgrimage includes more than 30 hours of video coaching where I guide you to break free from your false identity. It's over $20,000 worth of work that I put into it. Monthly live events like this, where I personally coach and mentor you to become your authentic higher self. High-tech meditation tools and breathwork tracks that literally help you get out of your head and into your heart. There's a quick way to do this stuff. We can just meditate by focusing on our breath, or we can use tools and cutting-edge technology that help us get there significantly faster than if we just focus on our breath. Joe Dispenza is big about this stuff. Initiate-only rituals that I've been trained in by my mentors that you cannot find on the internet, tools and techniques that will help you rapidly raise your consciousness and free yourself. This stuff is passed on from teacher to student. It's not something that you can just find by searching. That's why I'm not able to just throw it out there on the internet. It has to be just for students. There's a process to it. And then a private support group where you're connected with me and other community and a community of other like-minded people. So there's over $150,000 value for the pilgrimage. We don't charge that, obviously. We don't even charge $15,000, and we don't even charge $1,500. So I make it really available for people because I want people to really get the value out of it and experience a transformation. So like I said, enrollment for the pilgrimage is currently closed. Unfortunately, and some of you have asked, some of you are on the waiting list already. It's closed right now. It's important that we make sure that we're servicing our members and that I can really reach everyone. But I am opening 20 spots in mid-April. So if you want to get on the list to get into the wait list, here's the URL. I'm going to send that out to you as well. I'm going to put it in the chat in just a few minutes. This is how you can get on the wait list. It's first come, first serve. I'm going to open 20 spots in mid-April, and then we're going to close enrollment again for about 3 months. So if this work resonates with you, I would love to serve you. As you can see, we give way more than we ask in payment for the pilgrimage. It's a really powerful process. We've got lots of happy members who have been with me since we started in July. I haven't started promoting this publicly until literally right now and 2 weeks ago. Until then, it's been closed. Haven't really talked about it a lot. Put it out there a little bit, but kept it pretty secret because I wanted to make sure that people really fully appreciate it. So that's it, everyone. That's it for the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to do a 3-day summit in April, or sorry, 4-day summit in April. 4 days of this, only 2 hours each day. I'll send you all an email and let you know there's gonna be no cost for that either. We're gonna go even deeper. I'm gonna invite some guests, some previous clients, some mentors that I've worked with, some other people in the community. Some of you know some of these people already. You've maybe watched their podcasts or you've seen their work. And this is how we change the world. We have to change ourselves to transform the world. And that's really the intention behind this work. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for Jana and Haley for being so open and vulnerable and sharing in front of everyone. So grateful that you've all made the time to be here. And let me just put so first of all, here's the link for the pilgrimage if you want to join the waiting list. There's that link there. And I also, some of you asked about my private coaching and my group coaching. So there's an application. Unfortunately, you can't order my stuff online, but here's an application. If you want to go deeper, I only accept a very small amount of clients. So I can't guarantee that I'm going to respond to you if you fill the application, but that's the link to it if you'd like to learn more about my work. So thank you very much, everyone. I'm just going to allow everyone to unmute themselves. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, so should be able to unmute yourself. If you want to unmute yourself and just say goodbye to everyone. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
It was great.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
everyone.
Bye.
I feel like a new person.
Thanks, Jenna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great night, everyone. See
You
all
You
soon.
too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.